Hello and welcome to Around the Ice on Fantasy and Frames. I'm your host, JT, along with Toast and Aaron Tometich. We are getting things going week 10 here. Fantasy hockey season. Stick with us. We've got gambling info. We got trades, all the good stuff, fantasy. Stick with us here on Around the Ice on Fantasy and Frames. Hello, fellas. Welcome back. Appreciate you joining me here tonight. What's going on?
Well, JT, just watching right now what they would call in football as the witching hour. And right now we got the witching hour in hockey. We got a bunch of games getting ready to end and trying to see if a couple of our parlays are going to go. And looking forward to talking about it.
Yeah, a lot of stuff here in the last 5 minutes of the third period. And then we got 3 late games that are getting ready to start up here right now as well. And so far, just one game down. Flyers 5-3 over the Blue Jackets, the only final. But we got a bunch of them coming up here quick. Aaron, how you doing?
Good. A lot of not only a lot of games tonight, 11 in action or 11 total for the entire night. A few of them, like you said, JT, one wrapping up, a few of them closing up here, but more than that, a little activity in NHL overall. Our beloved Blackhawks with the new coach, and then a crappy goalie for another crappy goalie trade. So some of those in-season trades. And then the Trouba train moving out of town, shipping out of New York, going coast to coast there. He's in Anaheim now. So kind of since the last time we talk, a lot off the ice has happened in the NHL, certainly, that's kept up with all the action on the ice. So love the day like today with 11 games, plenty of opportunity, plenty of bets. I'm back. I've started playing a lot more underdogs, taking that plus 1.5 goals, and it's been paying off. So let's see if we can keep that going.
Well, nice. Let's get to it, fellas. Let's go around the ice. Let's go around the NHL and see what's happening.
Oh, the good old hockey game is the best game you can name, and the best game you can name is the good old hockey game.
So we head around the ice, see what's going on. We got Carolina and the Sharks right now 2-2, 7:45 left in the third there. New Jersey, Toronto currently tied 1-1, 8 minutes to go in that one. Colorado up on Pittsburgh 4-2, about 12 minutes left in that one. 5-2 Philadelphia leading the 5-3. The Flyers already beat the Blue Jackets, and that one. Colorado's up 6-2 now with about 5 minutes left. Islanders down 2-1 to Los Angeles Kings, 9 minutes left in that one. 3-3 Nashville and Calgary, about 4 minutes left in the second period there, so we got some time left in that one. Winnipeg currently leading 3-1 in the second as well, and no score early in the first between Tampa and Edmonton. Coming up quickly, if you're looking to get your bets in, Minnesota Wild taking on the Utah Hockey Club here should be starting at any moment now on the puck dropped. And then here in about half an hour, we've got the St. Louis Blues versus Vancouver Canucks and the Florida Panthers and Kraken. What do you guys got going on? Let's talk a little bit about some of these trades, some of the stuff happening around the league, and then what's kind of going on with some of these games right now.
Well, JT, I'll start off by talking about some of these games here. Aaron, if you want to take maybe a couple of the trades, we can definitely just go around nice here for a minute. But game I was actually watching really closely, interesting, San Jose at Hurricanes. And it was a minus 500 game with the Hurricanes being an overwhelming favorite tonight. The Sharks have been playing everybody tough lately. And they got off to a 2-1 lead. And now it's 3-2 with about 30 seconds left of the game. I'm needing a Shane Gostisbehere assist. And what you know, he got a goal tonight, his fourth of the season. But the time to actually bet this game was about 10 minutes ago when it was 2-1 Sharks, and about 15 minutes ago, 2-1 Sharks. And also I saw somebody online actually took a Martin Necas point as well as Hurricanes on the money line on the live bet for plus 400. That's going to go. That's actually going to hit.
Nice.
So looks like it's just ending now with 3-2. I'm going to come up probably 4 out of 5 on my second parlay, but we can talk about those bets as well. And one other one I wanted to mention that was exciting. Flyers have been putting up a ton of goals lately, guys, along with the Blue Jackets as well. Man, Matvei Michkov is just putting up points after points after points every single game. He comes out tonight with another 2 assists. Is the equal about as hot as he is Zach Werenski, the defenseman from the Columbus Blue Jackets, man. A goal tonight. He has scored in several games in a row. He is on the biggest heater of his career so far. I got both those guys in fantasy. I think I'm having a pretty good night in our fantasy league. So, Aaron, I'll kick it over to you. Talk about a couple trades, but unless you want to mention something around the ice here.
Yeah, no. You say 4 out of 5 legs hit, boy, isn't that the story of it? That's what they built Vegas on, are those 1 leg parlays that were missed back in the day. So, I just real quick, really just 1 transaction, 1 trade. Just kind of talk about those kind of headline grabs. Goalie trade again. I kind of again. Crappy goalie for crappy goalie. Georgiev and Colorado. Look, the guy was back up to Lundqvist for all those years. He started in New York. He's kind of moved around. He's an NHL goalie. Just for whatever reason, the system, it's just not working out for him there in Colorado. So, you had to make a move. Mackenzie Blackwood. I know he had some time in New Jersey. At the time when New Jersey was searching for a goaltender. Is this guy the answer? I don't know. Maybe not. Kovalenko was part of that deal. He went to San Jose. And then I think Giovanni Smith and a 5th round pick then over to Colorado.
There was a trade in there with the pick. Yep. Do you kind of feel like, I don't know what you guys think on that. Do you feel like it was kind of like Colorado just felt a little desperate to make a move at goalie? Because it's not like Blackwood has been great. I mean, he was killing New Jersey last year. I mean, he couldn't stop anything for the Devils, and that was why they struggled so much. I liked him earlier in his career, but he has not been great the last couple of years. Does this just feel like desperation, throw something against the wall and hope, hey, man, change the scenery? Maybe this guy's better, and people are just getting so mad at Georgie over there in Colorado. They're like, we got to get this guy out of here.
Yeah. 100%. I think so. I think it's, again, who knows? We're not in those rooms, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if the conversation took place just like we're having it right now. Like, hey, we tried. He's an NHL goalie. He doesn't work in our system, but this guy might. Let's do it. What do we got to lose? We score 100 goals a game. If you're Colorado, we have a cup within the last couple of years. I'd say so. Just hey, let's just ship him out. Let's give this guy a chance. So, obviously with these, time will tell. Maybe he's he's at about that 880 save percentage, just like Georgiev or worse. Who knows? So, again, time will tell. And we'll have to see on this one. I don't really think the 5th round or the 4th round picks, those, who knows, diamond in the rough situation, we'll find out. But yeah, I think Colorado, kudos to both teams. Oh gosh, name just got in my head and then went out. Former NHLer, the GM of the San Jose Sharks, Mike Greer. It's fun time to be Mike Greer because you're looking at another high pick. Celebrini is an absolute pleasure to watch. Will Smith, a little slower on that start, but he's a kid. He's a kid. So what? But you got a lot of people in the pipeline there, and now you're throwing around this. Now you got an established NHL goalie. You got what's his name in the minors right now for goalie. San Jose, they're kind of playing around in that rebuild space. So I hats off to Mike Greer. I think he's doing a great job with what he's got, and I hope he has a chance to see some of these things through. But just kind of an interesting trade. Kind of came out of nowhere.
Does this Sharks team, even though they're bad, they kind of remind me a little bit of the Blackhawks last year in that they were just playing everyone tough and they were pretty fun to watch with some of these young guys. I've found myself like slowly putting on like shark games like late at night and being like, the Sharks are on. Let me flip that over to the Sharks, because like they've been a pretty fun team to watch with all these young kids, even though they're not going to be a good team just by the makeup and everything else, but they've been fun to watch, and it's been kind of cool to see how some of these young guys are gelling together. They're pretty interesting build so far. If you're a Sharks fan, you got to be kind of excited about what they're kind of putting together. It's going to be a long process, but at least you feel like it's going somewhere.
Yeah, and I'll add to that here as well. I know we'll move on here to the next segment, guys. But so Colorado gave up a second-round pick for Blackwood. Blackwood's not going to be one of these he's not going to be the backup. He's probably going to get 60% of the starts, maybe 65% of the starts. You don't give up a second-round pick for a 28-year-old goalie. Now, Scott Wedgwood, they got Blackwood now and Wedgwood. That's kind of interesting as their goalies.
Which both were on the Devils. Neither one of them were very good on the Devils. So now
they
they're on Colorado.
Yeah, now they just need to trade for Cooper Sherwood, and then they'll be in good shape. But I would not actually got Blackwood in our Dynasty League, just because, again, Colorado, you're going to want to pick up a guy like that for the volume starts, and also Colorado's going to win a lot of games. They're going to win tonight. And talk about winners, man. Mikko Rantanen, another hat trick. He has just been unbelievably on. He's been on fire. And one other thing I actually want to mention here while we're going around the ice, the last thing here is, man, the Devils lose a heartbreaker at home. They get a point, but they actually go to overtime, lose to the Leafs. At one point near the end of the second period, that game was 26-6 on the shots in favor of the Devils. The Devils started off that game 14-1 on shots on goal. They end up 38-14 on the shots on goal. They give up a shorthanded goal about halfway through the third period, and then they end up pushing to overtime, and Maple Leafs steal one. And that's got to be just a backbreaker for the Devils. So, so a lot of action tonight, but man, this is I like this going around the ice here right now. We have a lot of fun games here that are ending kind of in a dramatic fashion here in the NHL tonight.
Well, McKinnon getting a goal, 4 assists, that helps my fantasy team. As Toast, me and you are on a barn burner early in the week. I was way up on you. You were having a monster day, over 60 points today. I think we're tied currently. This big battle between me and you this week. You've had a monster week. You got 63 points today. I'm at 26. We've actually seen our points go up 3 times since we've been on air. So I keep looking back at the score. We've gone up, and I was leading, then you were leading. You're back up. You're beating me 69-67 right now, but you have 63 points today to my 26. My guys got McKinnon, the only thing keeping me in it tonight so far.
Yeah, that's called a pumping yesterday and another pumping today. So and then we got Aaron in our home league leading the way in points for the week here with 73. So guys, I mean, hey, I keep looking back. I'm gonna kind of see where I got some competition. I'm 8-1 in that league, and everybody else is kind of fighting off one another. I'm gonna do a little bit of bragging right now, but the puck is bouncing my way too. So I'll ride it while I can.
Yeah, the interesting thing too on some of these is just kind of looking. We keep waiting for some of these teams to finally make like a big run, and it's just not totally happening. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see where they go. I watched the Red Wings Sabres game yesterday, which was a very good back and forth 6-5 overtime win by the Wings. They got down, came back multiple times and tied it, eventually sent it to OT. The Sabres missed one off the pipe in overtime. It looked like he had it banged right off of it. I mean, it was the loudest sound ever. I mean, it was like he crushed it on a backhand, and it just hit it, missed, and it ended up going to the shootout, and the Wings were able to pull it out 6-5 in shootout. Really interesting there. I wanted to bring up real quick while I was talking around the ice is the young guy in goal, Sebastian Cossa for the Red Wings, gave up 5 goals. It wasn't pretty, but man, he made some really tough saves in that game. He's going to be an interesting one, as we kind of usually see the small, flexible guys in goal. He's that opposite, 6'6", 220. I mean, he's a big guy. He took up a lot of room, and we saw it in the shootout that no one could go low on him because they were trying to go low because he's such a tall guy, but his legs he was just covering up so much space. There was like nowhere for anyone to shoot. Really going to be interesting if the Red Wings kind of start working him in and seeing what they can do. He's their former first round pick in 2021. Still a young guy, just 22 years old. Still working his way up. So real young guy. So I was really interested. And when I saw he was starting, I was like, oh, I got to pay attention to this game maybe a little more than usual because I just kind of wanted to see how he would play. Like I said, not a great game, only 14 shots against, gave up 2 goals. He came in there after they gave up some early goals and stuff. So interesting to see how much they see him. But I tell you what, after the Red Wings have been a low scoring team, they're getting in a little more high scoring affairs here lately. A little more pushing the puck, getting a few more shots off. They still been really good on power plays, even though they were 0 for 3 last night. But them and the Sabres are just another team. It's like sometimes when you watch them play, you're like, oh, this is, man, good, young, talented team. And then other times you can't figure out why they can't get it together because they seem like they should be better than they are this year. Anybody else standing out to you guys? I thought about that from last night when I was watching that game. Anybody else before we move on to our money segment?
Let's talk some gambling.
All right, let's do it.
Nothing else. Yeah.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, no, I was just going to say nothing to add or nothing, just to echo what you had said about your goalie there in Detroit. If you ever listen to Gretzky talk about Grant Fuhr and all those Edmonton Cups when they ran off 4 in a row or whatever it was, 3 in a row, it wasn't necessarily the amount of saves, it was the quality of saves. So to your point, your guy in Detroit could be the guy. He's not going to get those crazy Hellebuck numbers, but he is going to make the saves when he needs to. So definitely have to keep our eye on him for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. So hey, let's head on to the next segment here.
Where's my money? You gonna give me my money? Where's my money, man?
All right, this is our Show on the Money segment. This is where we talk about a little bit of our gambling. I know, Toast, you talked about it in the first segment there. You're just missing a parlay. What else did you have going tonight, and anything else we like here for the late segment, as we still got a couple games getting ready to drop the puck?
Yeah, it was a hell of a slate for Toast Takes tonight. There are so many prop bets that I just loved. I mean, to the point where my sheet that I actually posted online at Toast Clark on the X or at FIF Hockey.
I thought you were like writing a paragraph to people about something until I looked at it. I was like, oh man, I was like, Toast has got a whole load of stuff to jump on tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say about 50% of them actually went. If you look at the trends have actually been very, very good. I went strictly on trends tonight, but there was a couple left, and I really do think one prop I really, really like, Sam Bennett for Florida has been really, really good. That entire Florida team is exploding right now offensively, and led by Matthew Tkachuk. Tkachuk, we'll get to him here in a second, but Sam Bennett, he's got a point in his last 7 games, and you would actually think that that would actually be creeping up there, considering he's the 2C over there, second line center, power play as well. But it's still only minus 115. So you would think that'd be like minus 160, minus 170, but it's minus 115. Point in the last 7 games. They're at Seattle tonight, and Seattle has actually had a tendency to give up quite a bit of goals lately. So I just like Florida all the way around. I like Sam Bennett for an anytime point, minus 115. Love as well. Keep riding train, man. Matthew Tkachuk right now, 14 points in his last 5 games. I actually had an assist with him tonight. That would actually would have capped off another parlay, but I'm going to come up short with another leg. But go ahead and get on him over 1.5 points. So for 2 points, plus 195 versus, again, a Seattle team. Now, Joey Decord is in net. He's actually been pretty good. But right now, the way they're actually humming, I'm not really sure it's going to make a difference. So parlay of the day for me is Florida on the money line, a Bennett point, and a Matthew Tkachuk assist. You can get that at plus 242. Get your bets in. They're going to be starting here in about, I guess the betting window will actually close here in about 20 minutes.
I like that one. I'm gonna search that one up right now, Toast. I like that. That's a good call. I was thinking about that game tonight. I was like, oh, I kind of like that game. I was like, I might have to get in on that one. Aaron, what's kind of been happening? You said you've been finding your way here. Finally, we all got off to a little rough start this year, but find our way through the dark and into some money. What do you got going?
Yeah, so I've got two. I'm going to share two tonight. But first one, I'm gonna almost point for point echo what Toast just said. So great minds think alike, or one of us has mushed the other one. So we'll see. We'll see. Time will tell. But in honor of the best on best tournament, the rosters were announced last week. Florida has 8 players on their current roster that all qualify for their respective countries. So in celebration of so many players from one squad being taken. Again, I can't wait to root for Matty Tkachuk because it's normally he's that rat that I don't like to watch. I like Brady, but I don't know, just but it'll be fun to root for him when he has that USA jersey on. So in celebration of that, taking him and Toast, you just said the assist, so I'm going with just a point, +1 over a point, and then Florida money line. Yeah, they're kicking off a road trip. This is game 1, but like you said, the streak that they're on, they're just playing well. And again, with Matty Tkachuk, he's 19 points since the 19th of November. Leads the entire NHL in point production. So that's coming in at +218. So little lower return on that, but I feel a pretty safe bet. And then the other bet that I've got out there that's a little bit more risky, a little bit more on the edge there in terms of whether I definitely like the Florida bet more than I like this bet. But again, I'm going to focus on these games that are going to drop the puck here in about the next 20 minutes or so. But going with the Blues on the road against Vancouver. Blues are 27th in the league in scoring. They can't find the net. So I'm going to actually give the Blues the goal and a half. So taking Vancouver -1.5 and Jake DeBrusk anytime goal. You combine those together for the same game parlay at a +360. DeBrusk has kind of found his scoring. His hands are looking great. 6 goals in the last 5 games. He's looking outstanding. He's filling that role. He's hitting, he's skating, he's getting ice time. So I like to see him tuck one in. And then again, St. Louis, they suck. They can't score. So I'm going to give them the goal and a half, and Vancouver will win by 4 tonight. So yep, those are the two I've got for tonight.
Yeah, and
do
and
you
JT,
like anybody in shots in that? I'm kind of building one as we're talking here. I like where we're at. Quinn Hughes is at -140 for 3+ shots. I was trying to decide if there's anybody else.
JT, Vancouver. Yeah, Vancouver don't really shoot the puck. They don't really shoot the puck much. I wouldn't get too much on the shots and get crazy with that. Again, P.S. Suter, he is a guy right now where he has been playing lights out for them. A third line center, former Blackhawk as well, or winger there. Sorry, you get a point at +110 and an assist at
I got him at
+230.
I got +126 currently for a point for him. I kind of like if you throw that into what Aaron said, that gets it up to 767 on FanDuel currently.
Ooh, yeah. Like he's gonna be on power play 2 there as well, center and power play 2. If you look at him, they've kind of forgot about him right now. I think he's getting quite a bit of time on ice for what would be a second line there. He is playing with Garland, like Aaron was actually saying, just a point +110. But majority of his points have actually been assists recently, and that's +230. So I like Suter, and he's a guy I kind of liked when we actually played with the Blackhawks. I really wish they wouldn't have got rid of him. But as we just spoke there right now, I went ahead and put in my last bet of the night there. And I may do some live betting here during the game. But we got the Panthers money line. We got the Sam Bennett point and the Matthew Tkachuk point at +172 on DraftKings. Bennett and Tkachuk both play on the same line. You got to think that Tkachuk's going to go ahead and score a point. You got to think Bennett's going to be on at least one of those as well, if not multiple. And I really like 4 tonight. So that is +172. I would highly recommend everybody get on that. And I just wish I would have played that and that only from from the beginning. So
yeah, I jumped on what Aaron was saying. Vancouver -1.5, DeBrusque anytime goal, and Suter 1+ point. That is +767 on FanDuel right now. So just jumped on that at that one, and then Toast. I was going to say the similar one you were just talking about. I pulled up on FanDuel as well. Sam Bennett for a point, Kachuk for an assist, and Florida money line is +211 currently on FanDuel. If you do the assist for Kachuk, a point for Bennett, and Panthers money line is +211 currently on a same game parlay on FanDuel.
And here's what I hope actually happens tonight in that Florida game. I hope real quick in the first 90 seconds, let's actually hope that Florida gets down 1-0. All right. And then let's actually go ahead and hope that they actually outshoot, outshoot them probably, I don't know, by like 7 or 8 shots in the next 10 minutes. And right around 6-7 minute mark when it's 1-0 left in the first period, go ahead and jump on Florida at +100, for the game. And maybe it'll be right around their even money. And you might be able to even live bet with a Kachuk assist at the same time, and it'll really double some money up there. I'm looking for them to get down early. I do think they're gonna win this game.
Nice. I like that one a lot. Anyone else we got here on the betting segment, fellas? Anything else we're looking to throw out there? Or Toast, was there anything from earlier that you wanted to mention that you had in there that you really liked? I know you had Konecny with an assist. I don't know if he got one tonight. I know he scored a couple points. I know he got a goal at least. I know him. Neck. So there was quite a few guys you had in there that looked like they had put some points up today.
Oh yeah, everybody scored some points. It's not the right points. So Konecny has been an assist machine, and like you look at there with Konecny right now, an assist in 12 of his last 13 games. Not 12 assists in his last, but an assist in 12 of the last 13 games. He goes for 2 goals tonight, no assists. And that's just kind of the way that goes. And then also Gossesfair, 9 assists in his last 7 games. That's the one I actually needed to go and complete the 5-leg parlay, and he gets a goal. So it's we're close. Rantanen actually went off tonight with, again, not only a hat trick, but a couple assists as well. I think he had a 5-point night, had 23 points in our fantasy league against you, JT. Luckily, you have McKinnon on the other end with 13. But Mitch Marner was another guy, 23 assists in the last 18 games. He comes up empty tonight. So what looked like a promising night based on the trends and stuff really did not actually come to fruition.
All right, time to get into what we all like, a little fantasy hockey. Let's do it.
And you, young Skywalker, we will watch your career with great interest.
So the future is bright. This is our Dynasty segment. We talk about some up-and-coming players, some young guys, some different things to look for on the Dynasty side of things. What we got for the people tonight, fellas?
I'll go ahead and jump in here. Well, number one, I love that intro, that music. So hats off to the Fantasy and Frames. Love it. Of Christmas tree.
Jorge putting that together for us. We appreciate it.
Christmas tree. So shout out Jorge. Love it. Everything about it. It just works. But yeah. So kind of just got one guy. Talking about Dynasty and a guy to keep an eye on. Now, his draft year, right now, currently 16 years old. So his draft year isn't until 2026. So not the next draft, but the draft after. But a guy that is probably across the board in all hockey publications, usually cracking everybody's top 50 in terms of future prospects or way out prospects. I'm going to focus in on the Q, Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League. So the Q gets a bad rap, kind of when you talk about the major junior hockey leagues. They're up there in Canada, just because it's some rules. They've kind of stepped away from fighting. Actually, they've kind of more or less put a kind of soft ban on that. So it doesn't always get the attention maybe the O or OHL or WHL. WHL are still a goon factory out there, but the other two get. But anyway, so deep dive on the Q. This was last year's QM JHL's #1 pick. His name is Maddox Dejanay. So I talked about it last week. Guys that just sound like they belong on a hockey team. This guy would do it. He right off the page, the name alone screams hockey guy with Dejanay. But like I said, 16 years old. It's a bit of a deeper dive, but at 16-year-old, 6'2", 181 pounds, 16 points in 16 games in the queue, which doesn't jump off the page. There's half the league is higher than that. But his under 16 team that he played in last year is 81 points in 35 games. So when he plays amongst his peers, he really sets a standard. And again, most publications have this guy in the top 50 of overall prospects. Or when you're out, you Google search, top prospects under 20. This guy typically makes the list. So somebody to keep an eye on in that 2026. I'm not saying he'll go 1-1 overall like a Hagens. Hagens should go 2025 1-1 overall, but just a guy to keep an eye on. Again, younger guy, over 1 overall pick, and just somebody that has. Again, hasn't set the world on fire statistically, but certainly has the potential, and he's definitely moving up in rankings. At that frame, at 6'2", 181, he's already putting that muscle on at 16. Who knows what will be, at age 18, 19 at NHL ready level. So again, one of those deep dives, kind of similar to last week when we looked at the WHL, a guy to keep an eye on for the 2026 draft for all those in the Dynasty leagues.
Toast, you got anybody to talk about tonight in Dynasty?
Yeah, I'll go to the OHL.
All right, let's do it.
A guy that's going to be draft eligible this year, and should be a top 5 to 7 pick. I mean, the way he's playing now, he could really climb up to the draft board there and actually even be maybe a top 3 pick. But talking about Michael Misa, and he's a left-handed shot, 17 years old. Like I said, he's going to be draft eligible this year. Plays for the Saginaw Spirit, and he's 6 foot, 185 pounds. Reading from Dauber, I like going to Dauber. Actually, 6'1", 185. Still growing, kind of like my son, just still growing, never actually stops growing, but high in speed, high in acceleration. He's got great agility. Like I said, he got a quick, accurate shot with a very high hockey IQ. He's a playmaker. All right. So he's projected as a 1C and likely to go top 5 in next year's entry draft. I liked his progression. If you just kind of look at a lot of times these OHL guys, they'll start in OHL when they're 15, 16, and then they'll end up when they're 17 years old, and then they're draft eligible. And that's kind of what Misa's actually done here. But 2 years ago in his year 15 season, 22 points, 34 assists for 56 points in 45 games. All right, so a lot of people light up the OHL. Okay. But not bad for a 15-year-old. 16-year-old, and 67 games played, 29 goals, 46 assists, so 75 points. But here's where he actually has that coming out party in year 3 here. And he's really actually started to kind of grow into his own body. He's a left wing guy. For this year, for the Spirit, he's got 27 goals and 28 assists in 27 games for 55 points. So he's doubling up right now. Ends up playing a full schedule. He's looking at probably in around about the 150 to 160 points if they were to play close to 80 games. So that is a huge point total for a guy in the OHL. So I'd say have him on your radar, Michael Misa. And we got a Dynasty draft. Next year we'll have our inaugural rookie draft coming up in the offseason, and I'd imagine hopefully he's a guy that I actually don't have a shot at, because that means I won the league and I'm actually drafting 10th. So because he'll probably end up going before then.
Nice. I like it. I would love to have him on my team, but let's hope I'm not that high either.
Yeah.
So let's hope we're in the playoff mix here this year. All right, guys. Time to go to one of our favorite segments of the night. Let's play game. This is our Bangers League segment. We talk about all the players and guys that are doing well, who to look for, what to do, what's kind of happening on the Bangers League side of things. Our home Dynasty League is a Bangers League. So we do like to talk about that and kind of bring up what's happening in that league. If you're in a Bangers league, maybe some of the guys that you should be targeting or looking to trade for. What do we got tonight, fellas?
Yeah, I'm gonna again, definitely my favorite segment of the show. Shout out again to Jorge for a great intro there. But he defines what a banger is. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the Tom Wilson highlight, or at least maybe pictures on social media of his face. Dude eats a puck, just totally gets smoked by a full bore shot, takes it right in. I don't know which side of his cheek. I haven't seen the face swell up. I mean, it looked like a UFC fighter, maybe even worse. He had a whole second jaw. He comes back out. He played in the third period. He put a goal in, and then he put another goal in. And that second goal he put in was the game-winning goal. This guy, he didn't have a bubble on. I don't know how many broken. I don't know what the latest is. Like, is he hurt? Is he injured? I don't know. He looked terrible. He was talking, but he was probably so full of adrenaline. Like, I haven't seen the latest on him. I imagine he probably spit out half of his teeth, but this guy really defines, and he's been like this for years. We all know this. We've all played these, our group has played this Bangers League. So those of you that play these Banger Leagues, it's no surprise here. So I'm not telling anybody anything they didn't already know, but it's a special shout out. This dude is a beast. Not to mention this year, 11 goals, 11 assists, 80 hits. So he's doing his thing. He's being Tom Wilson. He's eating pucks. He's scoring goals. As we know, Ovi goes out on his quest to break Gretzky's record. I don't know what the locker room is like in Washington, but you got to think this guy's a leader. He is really not. You don't replace Ovechkin, but he's definitely kept or done his part to keep Washington winning, and that's exactly what they're doing. They keep winning. They're beating some big teams. They're beating teams that they should beat. They're doing it all. Again, he's to me on ice, and his persona looks like and plays like a captain. That guy that earns that letter on the front of his jersey. So say what you will. I mean, he's been suspended a million times. Some people hate him. They think he's dirty. He does this. He does that. Whatever. The dude's a banger. So that's my first. So that's just a straight up shout out. That's stating the obvious. Every single person that knows hockey knows who Tom Wilson is. But God, it's amazing to watch that. Watch that highlight this week. Second guy, before I kick it over to you, Toast, Vincent Trocheck. He's on pace. His points, which we see a lot of points out of Trocheck last year, they're okay. 8 goals, 9 assists, not great. But he's averaging about 3.5 hits a game. Their high is 185 hits. Right now he's on pace for 270. Is he going to hit 270? No, but it's not bad. And again, I'll talk about Trouba here in one of our upcoming segments a little bit more in depth. But you lose a guy like Trouba, he goes out and he hits anything that moves. I mean, there's not saying, well, I mean, Trocheck's a forward. Obviously, Trouba's back on D, but you're going to have that toughness. So perhaps he does maintain this 3.5 hit average per game. Maybe he does end up with, a plus 200 hit season. Again, it's those banger type stats that you don't normally expect. When I draft a Trocheck, I'm expecting to get some goals and some assists, few hits, few blocks, but this guy's really playing hard, going into the corners, playing in the tough areas. New York's kind of in a mess right now. I mean, yeah, they did re-sign Shesterkin, so that's great, good for them, but they have some money to play with now that Trouba shipped off. So we'll see what they do. So a little bit of unknown there in that squad, but not from Trocheck. He's playing the game the way it should be played, and he's a hard-nosed guy. So really love him. If you haven't already, maybe get him, especially with Trouba gone and that kind of toughness gone. Go ahead and take a flyer on him or throw him together in a trade or maybe target him. That would be a good time if you have the Bangers League.
Toast, what you got for us?
Well, couple of things before I end up talking about a true banger. It's kind of like a forgotten banger. Let's just put it that way. But man, Chris Drury, the GM for the New York Rangers, he completely screwed up that whole situation. I really can't believe that he actually was allowed it to get in the media about a couple weeks ago that both Trouba and also Shop and Chris Kreider on a team at the time that was 12-4. And since all that happened, man, he screwed up the chemistry in that locker room like you wouldn't actually believe. Trouba's actually on his way out, has to waive the no trade clause because they were going to waive him anyway, except to actually go over to Anaheim. And then the Hawks end up going into New York last night and just outplayed him, out-hustled him, which was great to see. But, man, that's a problem in New York, and I think it was why stir up a shitstorm when you really don't need to? And that's exactly what Drew actually did. I know they didn't like the cap hit at $8 million there for Trouba, but he's your captain, man. I mean, what type of precedent are you actually setting? I know you're an original six franchise. Understand it, it's still a destination place, but that's not a good look. Not a good look at all. And JT, I don't know if you actually saw it, but man, not only did actually Tom Wilson look like a chipmunk, he looked like the puck was still in his mouth. It was unbelievable.
I'm gonna have to look up those pictures because I totally missed that. I was like, oh man, I gotta look at that for sure. I remember us talking about taking him in a couple different leagues before, and we're always like, God, we like him.
He'll be suspended.
Points. He's a banger, but he always gets suspended. And we're always worried about how many games we're gonna get out of him.
Yeah, and I'll talk about this banger here real quick. It's a guy you wouldn't actually think is on the radar to be the banger, but Ricard Raquel. And Raquel is a great banger league prospect here right now. Not really a prospect; he's a veteran, but he's never actually had the line mates before that he's actually playing with right now. When you're playing with one of the all-time greats in Sid Crosby, and you're also actually getting to play with a guy like Bryan Rust on line one, and you got that power play one deployment. Pittsburgh's starting to play better right now. All right, they did actually get it handed to them tonight, but again, I really think you're going to kind of see right now that Colorado, I mean, they're going to start to kind of roll here. And another reason why I would not actually pick up Blackwood. Let's talk about Raquel, though. So far, 11 goals, seven assists for 18 points in 30 games. For a banger, that's pretty good. And for the deployment, that's really, really good for a guy that also hits, blocks, and has shots on goal. 55 hits right now. So right now, he's actually pacing this year for about 130 hits, somewhere around there if I'm doing the math in my head right. He's got 33 blocks. Think about a forward who actually has 55 hits and 33 blocks. That doesn't happen often, you know. And then parlays it with 71 shots on goal as well. So he's pacing for 200 shots on goal, 130 hits, 75 blocks, and probably around 55 points this season. I love the fact that 14 of his 18 points have come at even strength. And the best part about this is this. An ADP of 300 on Fantrax, still only rostered in 49% of leagues on Fantrax as well. And it's not like it's just a flash in the pan because, well, you know, he's just kind of getting lucky on the goals, whatnot. 15.5%, that is a shooting percentage. That is a career high, but that's not high shooting percentage, all right, especially for a forward. Averaging over 18 minutes of time on ice and 3 minutes of time on the power play. That right there is the key to actually going out and get Ricardo Raquel, a guy that can actually fill up a stat sheet and also play those minutes and actually play with a guy as great as Crosby. So go out and get Raquel. He's probably available. Less than 50% of leagues on Fantrax.
Yeah, that's wild for a guy that's playing, you know, first line like that with the guys he's playing with. Pretty wild. I know we talked about it preseason, like who's going to step up for the Penguins this year with, you know, all the older guys they have, a lot of guys moving on. Who was going to be like? He's been one of those guys that's looked good, and especially like you said, Toast. If you get a forward that gets those kinds of hits and block numbers, that's banger league dream right there. I'm kind of mad I don't have him on my team.
Well, and JT tonight, even though he didn't actually get on the score sheet, he actually had 19:38 in time on ice, 4 shots on goal, 3 block shots. All right, so he can do a little bit of everything. He may not be the dream when it actually comes to maybe a Cats league because he's not going to do so well in the giveaway, takes aways, and the face-offs ones because he's not on the dot because he's a wing and whatnot. But he fills up a lot of categories, and he's actually a really, really good banger. That's not a guy that people think in a bangers league as well. He's a forgotten guy.
That's a perfect segment into let's talk about cats. A little cat league action here.
The category is
So let's talk about some of these guys that are filling up the stat sheet here in the Cats leagues. Guys you need to be looking out for. Obviously, we're going over all these things for anybody that's a new time listener. We're going over bangers leagues. Guys get hits, blocks, a little more points on that side. Categories leagues, we're breaking it down into shots on goal, assists, points, face-offs, hits, blocks, everything. So definitely different strategies, different things that you want to look for when you're picking in those leagues, especially if you're going head-to-head scoring like in a bangers league as opposed to going a category league scoring style. Definitely different makeups on how you're doing those. Feel free to always hit us up with any questions on any of that stuff. But guys, what we got is for some of our Cats leagues for this week.
Well, I'm gonna stick with stay on the Trouba train and kind of I'm bringing him over to this category league, mostly hits and block shots, like you just described, JT. Some of those stats. Again, the whole point of the Cat League is you expand them. You bring some of the non-conventional scoring ways into the fantasy realm. But I really like your take too, Toast, on Chris Drury. And why a year ago they called this guy captain like it was a whole big deal, and then you send him on his way, and the whole summer, the whole thing just reeks. It's too bad. It is what it is. So and again, it sounds like we're defending Trouba. I don't know, maybe the guy's a turd, but whatever. But Trouba, here's what I want to really focus on this category league. And it's just getting a combination. Let's say you're in a Cat League and you just want to have some fun. Anaheim, go ahead and just get Trouba and Gudas. I don't know that these guys, I don't know who's what, right, left. I don't know if they're skating the same time. But game one, they play together. Trouba with 5 hits, Gudas with 4. So these are just two mutants. They're going to kill people. They're going to take suspensions. How would you like it if you're San Jose and you got to play Anaheim, whatever, how many ever time the division rivals play, and now looking at your calendar and you're Max Celebrini, all 170 pounds of them, and you got to face these guys like 4 more times. No thanks. I might call in sick. I might talk to if I'm a guy at the end of my contract or into my career, I might say, hey, can you get me out of town? I mean, Trouba and Gudas on the same team. What a couple of just absolute headhunters. It's like the old days of Scott Stevens, just headhunting Paul Kariya and everybody else. And you're in a Cat League, just get these two. Get these two guys, play them on your team, play them every game. Look at Anaheim's schedule and just have some fun. Just look at him, watch him jump. I mean, Gudas, he'll block shots with his face, with that big old beard he gets about playoff time. Anaheim's not going to the playoffs, so I don't know what his facial hair situation will be, but
it looked good in Florida.
Block shots with his teeth. Yeah, it did. And Trouba is he's a maniac. He dives at people. They're two crazy guys playing on the same team, and one's always going to be in trying to out crazy the other. So Gudas, the recently named captain of Anaheim, and now you got Trouba out there. So like you were saying, JT, hey, it's kind of fun watching San Jose games. I might want to catch a couple of Anaheim games just to watch these two. Who's going to be the biggest Neanderthal tonight? Is it Gudas or is it Trouba? Yeah, cool. I'll tune in. I'll kick back at a 9:30 Central game and just watch. Have no real interest in it other than watching which of these two idiots can out idiot the other one. So good on everybody. Love Anaheim. The old school hockey there in Anaheim.
What do you guys think about the Anaheim New Jerseys going with the orange? I'm a big orange fan in general. I like orange color, but every time I see them, it doesn't feel like Anaheim. I'm used to the old Mighty Ducks colors, and it just throws me off every time I'm watching them. I think they're the Flyers for a minute, and then I'm like, who is that? I'm like, oh, it's Anaheim. I don't know. I don't like it at all. I don't know what you guys thought.
It's too much of a cross between orange and red. It's not a true orange. I really don't know what they're going for. It's an odd color. Here's the color of it. Now, it's almost like one of the feathers. The Hawks I'm looking at right now. You got a red, you got a yellow, and you actually have an orange feather. But the orange is a little bit of a lighter orange, and that's kind of the way those jerseys are as well. I'm not a big fan at all. They got a little too cute, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not usually a big
it's
purple
pylon
and like
orange. So pylon.
teal. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm not usually a big purple teal guy, but I'm like purple and teal. I just feel like it's a little more of them than this orange color. It just seems so strange to me. All right, fellas. Hey,
it seems like they botched what they're.
Yeah, what they were trying to do there and all that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and JT, I'll mention a guy here for a Cats League. I got a guy, but Anton Lundell for the Panthers. And Lundell, a 23-year-old, he was drafted 12th overall in the 2020 entry draft. But he's got a 200-foot game. He plays both on the power play on the second power play. He plays penalty kill time as well. He's got a shorthanded goal. He does a little bit of everything. And again, what you actually need in the Cats League, you need coverage on goals, assists, shots on goals, hits, blocks, takeaways, giveaways. You got face off one, and maybe even plus minus as well. And he actually is good in all of those, and it helps the fact that he's actually on Florida as well. But right now, eight goals, 11 assists for 19 points in 27 games. Not bad for a guy that's actually the third line center playing with Evan Rodriguez and Luosterainen. All right, so I would stay away from him probably in cap leagues. He does for me hold let's put it this way: if it's a points league and you're actually in a points cap league where you got salary cap, he's in the first year of a $5 million AAV that actually goes through 29-30. Unless he can kind of move up the board, and they're stacked lines 1 through 4 to Florida is, because you got Barkov, and then you end up having Bennett, and then you end up having Lundell down the middle. There's nowhere really to go. He's not going to be moving up unless there's an injury to Bennett, and Bennett's injured a lot. So, but he's 58 shots on goal. I like the fact he's only got 4 power play points and his 19 power play points. So the majority of his points are on the even strength. 34 hits, 23 blocks, and again a 19 giveaways and 12 takeaways for a .63 differential. That's really good. And this is the best part of 195 faceoff wins. He's actually at 51% at the dot as a 23-year-old. That's like, man, you got to figure it out. ADP 403 on Fantrax right now. Again, another guy you could probably go get in category leagues. Again, may not be the best option for cap league, but Dynasty, he's a great addition, especially in deep roster leagues as well. So I'd imagine our league he's actually gobbled up there. But man, in a Cats league, he is money right now, and especially a Caps Dynasty.
I like it. I like it a lot. Let's fellas, let's make a deal. What do you say? For our final segment of the night, we're going to talk trade talks. Get some trades. I know Toast has been trying to work our Dynasty League, trying to move some guys around, trying to get some action flowing. So, Toast, let's talk about one of these trades you got kind of in the works, something you're trying to get done.
Well, it's been a hard no. I'm 8-1 in the league. I'm actually trying to get a little bit better, and I'm also trying to get about every Russian on my team right now. I got Demidov, I got Mishkov, I got Buchnevich, I got Lishunov, and I'm trying to get Sveshnikov, but and then I'm probably going to change my name. I don't know. I'll just call myself the Red Army or something. I don't know, but it'd be cool. But
I'll let you have all the Russian guys because I can't say any of their names, so it's just easier for you to talk about them. And I'm like, I don't know how to say that guy's name anyway.
JT, if you'd like to go ahead and just hand a couple over to me, that's fine. I mean, they've already got their seasoning in the KHL. They come over to NHL. They don't miss a beat. And we talked about Michkov, how great he is. I mean, I'll put something out there on at FIF Hockey. And maybe get a little bit of action going there, a little bit of discussion. But I wonder if you could actually think of somebody that came in the league as a rookie as an 18 or 19-year-old that's actually had the season so far that Michkov's actually had. I mean,
I know there was a lot of fighting at the draft about who was going to get him and when he was going to go and when he actually got taken. And there was a lot of people were upset about it. It was like, oh, I knew I should have jumped in earlier.
He drops in number 7. He dropped in number 7 in the draft and basically falls to Pittsburgh, or I'm sorry, Philadelphia. And what a deal it was. But I'm off target here. We're not actually here to talk about Michkov and actually all the Russians, but what we are here to talk about.
I just can't help myself. I just want to talk about him all the time.
Yeah, so I want to get you guys' opinion. Also, I'll go ahead and put this on the page after the fact and kind of get some votes and see what everybody else would actually do. But I've actually made an offer to somebody in our league who was actually turned down, and that's completely fine. You know, again, you want to put out feelers there, but I offered in a Dynasty Bangers League, non-cap. Okay, so a non-cap, a Dynasty and a Bangers League. I offered Clayton Keller from Utah, who's left wing, right wing eligible, and a 2025 first round pick. It's a 10-team league, so and we have 3 rounds. There's 30 picks in this upcoming rookie draft that will come up, 3 per team if you don't trade them away. I was going to actually trade away my first round pick to end up getting Andrei Svechnikov from Carolina. Left wing, right wing eligible as well. JT, I don't know if you're able to actually put up that comparison of the statistics.
Yep, I've got it up right now for everybody. So if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and take a look here. I've got kind of the comparative of their stats so far this year.
Yeah, so there's a couple outliers. Right now, Keller is going to have the just as high as an average draft position as Svechnikov. In most leagues, are probably going to be somewhere around the 50, 55, somewhere around there, 45, 50 to 55, somewhere around there. I know Keller's 26. I think Svechnikov's 25. They both actually play the wings, so they're dual eligible. But one difference is basically look at the shots on goal. Svechnikov is more of a shooter, and also Keller is more of a facilitator. Now, last year, if I remember right, Keller actually had something like 35 goals, 45 assists for like close to 80 points, and this went off in his year 25, and he's supposed to be the best player on that team. Now, has he come out a little slow at the gates this year? Yeah, but he look in 17 points or goal 7, assist 17, 24 points in 27 games. He's on pace for like a 75-point pace. Nothing actually to snooze about there. But the main difference is the shots on goal and the hits. Because Keller's not going to hit. Svechnikov actually will. So this actually being a Bangers League, you know, that's probably where the deal didn't get done and why I knew I actually had to try to sweeten the pot by actually offering the first rounder. But also, too, if you look at it, Carolina's a team that they like to spread the scoring around. And they also like to actually have all their lines play a lot of minutes. So hence why he's barely playing over 17 minutes a game, Svechnikov in Carolina. You're going to see Keller probably average over 19 minutes this year as well. So I was kind of told a stern no. However, I really don't think that the trade was too far off. It just comes down to preference. And the preference here is the guy really didn't actually like Clayton Keller as much as he liked Svechnikov, and the first round pick wasn't a good enough sweetener. So I want to get your guys' opinion on that, and that's something I'll put online as well.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty close trade. I think with it being a Bangers League, Svechnikov, because it's a Bangers League, pushes him up a little bit for me, and the fact that he's on Carolina, which is I always want these guys that are on a better team. I think they're going to have better chances to score. They're going to be in the mix a little bit more often. I do like Keller a lot. He was a guy I went to draft in our league, and you got him before I was going to get him on the way back in the round you took him. I was going to take him the round after. If he would have got back to me, he did not. So I like Keller. I know me and you talked about Keller also in a possible trade. I wasn't 100%.
Batherson.
Talked about Batherson. I know you and me both like Batherson a lot. So that was one we were like, I was pretty close on that one. I was like, I don't know if I want to move Batherson just yet, but I think there's going to be room there. I just think, you know, Keller is one of those guys. Whenever you have a guy that's on a team that, especially they just moved cities, they're not really well known, trying to get their footing. I think sometimes it's hard for people to like pull the trigger on a guy like that because they just don't know that much about him or haven't watched him that often compared to a guy that's on a team that's been really good the last couple of years. So I don't think that's that far off. I actually had the guy you offered this. He got a hold of me and was like, "Hey, what do you think about this trade?" And I was like, "It's pretty close. It just kind of depends on what you're trying to do." And the guy that you were trying to trade is a big, he's a fan of the bangers. He likes our league. He likes all the guys that are bangers in our league. He drafted banger heavy in this league. So he's like, I love having that nice floor of guys that are going to get me hits night in and night out, and at least are going to get me points if they don't score. So, but I definitely think that was not too hard. Aaron, what are your thoughts on a possible trade like this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree right off the hop here. Agree with both of you that Svechnikov is definitely the brighter of the two. I don't think there's any argument there. We're not saying that Keller is equal. I mean, again, off the charts difference on hits. Svechnikov is more fun to watch play the game. He's going to get you those couple of points, even if he doesn't show up on the score sheet. So start off by completely agreeing. The thing about it, you think about this, the first round draft, you're guaranteed a top 10 pick in NHL's draft next year. Now, next year's draft is we don't have a Celebrini, we don't have a Bedard in this draft. We got Hagens that should be the clear 1-1, but we got a pretty robust top 10 out there. Just at a glance, you talked about him tonight. The guy I'm really thrilled about, and I think he'll probably go top 10, maybe top 5. Michael Misa, killer. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about potentially a guy like this plus Keller for Svechnikov. I'm a Clayton Keller fan, just like the two of you are. Reason why I'm a Clayton Keller fan is Barrett Hayton. Hayton has played very well this year. Again, they're not, like you said, JT, Utah's not lighting the league on fire right now. They started off great. Got some unexpected, a lot of great goals out of Gunther. Logan Cooley, he's playing cool, but he's kind of cooled off. But anyway, all that said, I love the future of Utah. I like the city, and I just like what I've seen out of the line combo of Hayton, Schmaltz and Clayton Keller. So when you threw that first round pick in there, I love Svechnikov, but I don't love him that much. I would have pulled the trigger on that thing pretty quick.
See, I think the first round pick definitely makes it closer, Aaron. Like you said, I think the difference is, when you're a guy that's not big into like the young guys in hockey, I think that's maybe where he was like, oh, I don't know if I feel comfortable enough that I'm going to make a good draft pick. And so I think maybe someone that was like a little more in depth would have been like, oh, I really can see what I can do with that first round pick, where someone who, maybe isn't as versed in it. It's like, oh man, what am I going to do with that pick? Am I going to even know who to pick and the right guy and those types of things? So, but I definitely think that's an offer that maybe could sit out there, and maybe if it came back here in a couple weeks, maybe somebody pulls the trigger on something like that.
Yeah, and I think definitely something to revisit here, because also too, you got to also think in trades, and I know we're up on time here, but you got to also think in trades, like timing is always everything on trades as well. And right now I'm 8-1. I don't have to trade Keller, and I'm actually not. It's not like I'm shopping because I'm unhappy with him. I think he's got 90 fantasy points right now in our league. Like I said, he's almost a point per game player. We know he's actually proven. I like the fact that he hardly has any power play points right now. And if you look at Svechnikov's points, they're inflated with power play points because they're actually just been on a freaking tear on the power play, Carolina as well. But also, too, the guys actually want to trade within our league. He has only got we get 10 minor league spots. He's only actually got 3 or 4 actually filled up. So he's got room to do that. He's 3-6 right now. He's 8th out of 10th in the league. He's probably going to draft in top 3 or top 4. He's going to turn around and actually have a 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th round pick with my pick, because I'm probably going to end up making the playoffs, getting a top 4. And he's going to turn back around and probably drop 12th or 13th as well. And I actually get a guy like Keller. So you kind of look at his needs and it makes sense. And so this may be me lobbying, hoping he's actually listening to the podcast. Maybe he's got to come back so I get another one of my Russian guys. But it's definitely not where I'm making a move just because I'm unhappy right now. I'm sitting 8-1. I'm sitting pretty. I just am trying to get another guy. Like Aaron said it perfectly. Svechnikov has a really good floor. Okay. I would say Keller has a higher ceiling from night to night, can kind of go off or whatever, but Svechnikov is a safe guy. All right. But a first round pick's nothing to sneeze at. And with his top 10 picks, man. Yeah. So maybe he'll come back.
I always think it's sometimes when you're the guy leading the league and you're trying to initiate the trades,
you're screwing somebody.
I think some people think they're taking advantage. Like, why is this guy trading? He's leading the league. Why is he trying to deal this guy to me? And so I think sometimes people just second guess it a little bit. They're just like, is that guy any good? Is somebody hurt? Because I think sometimes people think that. They're like, is this guy like something wrong with this guy? Does he know something? I was like, this guy gonna fall apart?
Nothing's wrong with him.
I think sometimes people just second guess that stuff when they wonder why the guy that's leading the league is out there pushing trades. So I think sometimes it, like you said, a little bit of timing. Maybe you get a couple more weeks in the season.
Yep.
You still want to make that deal. You revisit it, and he's like, I'm not going to make the playoffs, and you're like, hey, you can get 3 top 12 picks or, top 13 picks if you make this deal for the future. Maybe at that point, it changes his mind a little bit. If he thinks, oh, maybe I'm kind of out of it now. Now I'm revisiting this. Maybe it does make sense to get, some of these younger guys, do a little research. I'll know who to pick, when the draft actually comes around. Because, of course, he doesn't, it's just like in NFL football. Most of these guys don't watch college. They don't know who any of these guys are until the NFL drafts them. And then they're like, okay, who do I need now? So just because you don't, and I tried to tell that people, like, just because you don't know who all these minor leaguers are right now, don't worry about it. You're going to get plenty of info out there about them once the draft comes around, and you'll have a better idea who you want to be taking. So,
well, and also too, Keller's never really had a supporting cast like this in his entire NHL career. They're all young. They're all upcoming here as well. He plays with Hayton, like you said, they're all 26 and younger, so to speak, and just coming in their own. They got Dylan Gunther as well, Logan Cooley on that second line, Jack McBain, who actually can do a little bit of everything. I like Masili. Stenlund is a face-off machine on the fourth line center. Scored another goal tonight, and then they actually bring in a guy like Sergachev. They got momentum from actually getting to Utah, which I think they're going to do great things there. So Keller's going to be a mainstay. He's not going anywhere forever. He's only 26. So in my mind, it was a very even trade. Like you said, it comes down to preference. Who do you actually like? But I thought I was actually given a little bit more, but we'll see.
And if Utah was officially the Yeti and had the Yeti uni,
I wouldn't be trading.
It might push this one over the top for me. I think I would revisit it if I could get a Keller Yeti jersey. It might push it a little bit for me on that side of things. If it was already the Yeti for sure, and I could get the jersey, I would definitely consider it at that point.
JT, if they're the Yeti, Keller's not for sale. He ain't going nowhere, dude. I'm keeping it. I'm getting a jersey. I'm getting that big Neanderthal in the front, man. It's going to be amazing.
I was thinking, like, I could get that.
Aaron's hot right now.
Patterson, you could get the Senators jersey, and we'll just make it all work. But that's again my weekly push for Yeti as the new mascot for the Utah Hockey Club. Final thoughts for you guys here as we come on. We're just past the hour here. Final thoughts before we say goodbye to everybody for tonight.
Yeah, I want to totally reverse my answer and just say whoever said turn that down, stay strong. Toast is 8-1. He fleeced everybody last year. He had a non-playoff team. He fleeced everybody. He was a playoff team. So no, I take it all back. Toast, no, you're on your own. Nobody trade with you. So yeah. Other than that, though, go Oilers. Let's go McDavid. Put another one in. I think Scheifele was on a hat trick watch. I don't think he got it, but
he's been smoking right now at 6-1. Jets on top of the Bruins. Scheifele's he's got 2 of them. Trying to get another one. He ended up getting an assist instead of a goal for Thursday. He's got 2 goals and an assist right now. Wow. Kyle Connor got the other goal, but they're. I was a little nervous for 2 seconds about playing Hellebuck tonight instead of playing Bob, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna play Hellebuck. I'm glad I played Hellebuck 6-1. I think Bob's gonna have a good scoring game tonight. I could have played both of them, but we want to thank everybody who watched the show. Listen, if you get a chance, go follow us on Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, like us, give us a review, follow us if you can. Also go over to Fantasy and Frames on YouTube, like, follow, subscribe there, leave us a review, comments, anything like that. All that is helpful for us. We appreciate it. You can follow me at JT Orange on the X, Toast at Toast Clark, and Aaron at Titch4141. Also follow us at Fantasy and Frames, and follow Fifth Hockey also on the X. So make sure you check us out. Everybody, thanks for joining us tonight. Guys, hockey season, we're rolling here, man. It's starting to pick up a little bit. I feel like football's getting a little bit closer to the end of the season. I'm getting a little more fired up here for hockey as we get things going. So stick with us. We'll keep bringing you the content all year long here on Fantasy and Frames. Thanks for joining us. This was Around the Ice.